Day number 198 of Autistic Person trying to get WW's attention. And I would like to inform everybody, strap yourselves in. I'm going to do more than 60 seconds. We're not going to put this on shorts. We're going to put this on the regular video at Instagram, so don't worry. I have autism. And I'm trying to get WWE backstage, meet and greet with my favorite superstars. But I also suffer from PTSD from a job that probably discriminated me the hell out of it, which we got really close to suicide there. I don't care. I'm not making any money off of this, so I don't care to use words that YouTube's not going to indulge. And then there was a Hab Program. I just can't see how they're in business. So I'm going to be talking about the Hab Program here. And I'm not going to use the name. I'm not going to use who these people are. I'm going to use she, or various she and he. And I'm going to go over the two main issues, or three maybe, that kind of connect to the job. That's why I brought up the job. But, and I'm not any again, I am against it, but like, because the one I'm at now is in a Hab Program. It's a music studio, which I don't have any problem saying, but I also want to bring it up with this. Alright. So I have PTSD because of these places. And my PTSD is if I did it the right way. I'm not going to go into not really what's going on with that. Like, because I don't think I would have got my way anyway because these people are so egotistical. So, she said at one point, the disabled are the laziest workers or something, or they don't work as hard as other people. And you can be the judge at the end of this, but I think the disabled are much harder workers just based off of the conversation we had. I showed up late one time in 6 months, and this lady said I should have been fired for that. I had an accident. People have accidents. I don't want to throw people under the bus, but people have accidents. They show up late. It happens. But I'm going to use manager and prostitute. Yeah, because it kind of is like that. From what the customers were telling me at the job. And apparently the manager and the prostitute always showed up late. And the Hab was more on their side. I'm just going to put this out here too. I think that everything they said was just to say, no, you have a disability, so you are wrong. But that's what happened. That's one. And this is part of the whole thing. And I'm going to be splitting it up with him, so don't worry, except for the incident at the end. So the next thing I was selling was my pay. I got paid once 32 hours for working 32 hours. $32 for working 32 hours. And they're like, that's what you should get. And no, reality is that what you should get. I don't even know how to get into that. I just want to say, like, in the PTSD, this is where I bring it up. Like, if you charge $90, or you say you should charge 90 cents. I'm not going to make a comment on that further, but I'm kind of going to explain, like, what I'm thinking. Not in the moment. This happened years ago, but, like, I still have this PTSD, and if I could just tell it to the world, you know, like, maybe I can get it over with. And if WB comes around, they come around. This is not really, I'm labeling it the WB video for the day to show them what I've been through. Okay, so where are we? $32. So, no, that should never be a thing. And apparently, customers told me that some of the customers would actually see this, or saw that happen, and they would argue with the manager, and I believe that we got into with the lady, they deserve to be cursed out for customers, which they do not, and then murdered for challenging, well, at least in this lady's perspective, to do their job. Yeah. So I get there early. You should get there early to work. My car, and some customers are banging on the car saying, you should get in there. And I'm like, I don't start for 15 minutes. The manager lied, apparently saying I was supposed to be on. I showed the customers the schedule. The company, well, they probably didn't. They definitely did not pay for the car damages that the customers had. So I went in early. Long story short, for the manager, he's like, this is ridiculous. He's really saying it's ridiculous he couldn't do his job to get the other guy to do his job. And then the other ones are like, you just stepped on his time slot or something, his territory. I'm like, but if I could, if my car wasn't getting damaged, and I think they said, the lady, the man does not talk during this one. The lady talks during his, but man doesn't talk. And I don't think the man was like, oh, he got the balls all of a sudden. And he's like, oh, you're right. I think he just, I don't want to say stupid. I just don't think he wanted to get into it. They said they should, lady said that the customer should have came in and killed me because disabled lives don't matter. And they said that a lot, and I'm only going to say it once. As for the incident with work, did I do the right thing? Probably, yeah, because I could have got hurt. I mean, if manager does his job, that prostitute does his job, and I don't have to come in early. My aunt got me this job. And I'm going to bring this up much later, but they say, we listen to everything you say. And they remember me bringing up my aunt got me this job. And I was told by the customers that there might have been some sexual allegations with the manager and his father, a.k.a. his manager, and the prostitute with the manager. But it seemed like the lady was like, fucking your way to the top is better than your aunt knows you're good enough to do this job and gives you the job on merit. I'm not saying anything here, but if you're going to go on the everything you said, I do remember them saying that their boss was a moron, and I'm wondering now if they were fired from that job. Well, I think it was both of them. I'm not sure, but if it was both of them, but let's just say it was both of them. Wondering if they were fired for doing something, and that's why they have to defend themselves. They shouldn't, but that's not my concern right now. So we're out of the first section. Yeah, I know, the first section. So, the second section is, my manager was standing around. I was on break. I was asking somebody, I think a new guy, hey, you find everything okay? I came back, I went back, I had 3 minutes or something, 5 minutes. I'm like, hey, let me just ask this guy if he's okay, he needs anything. I said I was coming back, and the manager was standing around for about 20 minutes doing nothing. And when I told the lady I was on break, they said, again, with the Second Amendment right shot, if I can get up back to work, but another shot, like you're killing. And I do realize this many years later that I might have self-consciously in the back of my head, like, oh God, I need to get out of here. I am out of here, by the way. It's been 7 or 8 years, and that's why I had to make this, because I still have the PTSD. Is it? Yeah, because I guess I've been with the current one for 7 years. Yeah. And I just want to just go off script for a PTSD thing for a second. What did you expect if court got involved in that? Not like they did it, but I'm saying, if you actually killed somebody, do you think you go to court, they say, oh, you're guilty, oh, he had a disability, you're off scot-free? Or is it, this person had kids with disabilities, they're I don't, this person has a two-way accounting degree, which means it's a two-way, which there is a two-way, and I'm going to bring up something they said right now. We have to learn, but they don't have to learn. So when we're trying to teach them something, they don't have to learn it. That's you stop learning, you die. That's what I'm saying. But did they, going down the wrong way on one way, you got your non-disabled kids on one side and your others on the other side. Do you hit the disabled kids when there's a road between? And what if you do that and when you're in this imaginary court and you just kill the kids and then you're going, and then the realistic thing, and I always PTSD this, I mean, it's bad that I even think of this, but like, yeah, you would be in jail or even worse for killing somebody. But I'm going to stop that there and get back to the point. So the prostitute would stand around, do nothing with it being a mess. We're maintenance, by the way. And he told me when things are slow and everything's clean, you can just stand. So I just listened to what he said. Manager yells at me, no big deal. So we're going to go into the man a little bit. And I can already see this being at almost 11 minutes. This might be a long-ass video. So I hope Instagram allows this up. Otherwise, I'll do something. I think actually for Instagram, I'm going to do a link. Because I think this should stay on YouTube. But he always said, I listened to everything. Listen to everything said and the tone it said. And I hate to say this, but he used to say, we're all fucking morons, the disabled. And his daughter is also a fucking moron, comparing the disabled to them. And I have a couple theories what's going on. We're getting into the bad ones a little bit later, but we'll get into 3 right now. Is he saying he's an idiot and his daughter's smart? Like, he took a test, failed it, she passed it, or as I would imagine, like, somehow they took out her brain, put it in his brain, he had an answer sheet, and somebody tell him the answers, and it's easy test, and he fails. Well, the daughter has, no brain, was brain rotted for a couple hours, and still gets the test, and his wife is arguing with him. He's like, no, I'm the boy. And eventually that argument leads to, yeah, you failed the test pretty bad. Like, maybe not even in a score, and she did good. I also think, and I hate to say this, but I've always thought this, like, since very early on that he was saying that he's assaulting his daughter, from, like, attacking her from behind, fist or bat, and he's trying to kill his daughter, gun or knife, and she's still able to flip him over, and he's like, I'm your dad, and she's an idiot for not, I don't want to say the K word, but incapacitating him. Back to her on the work ethic. What is it? I'm doing this off the top of my head, so you're going to have to hold on. So she would say American Disability Act was like for blacks and Mexicans. The American Disability Act, and first off, before I say anything, blacks and Mexicans, they have their own. I'm pretty sure they have their own, like, right system, like the Americans with Disability Act. I am not saying they don't deserve rights. I'm just saying, in this circumstance, you can't compare the two, is what I'm saying. Because if you compare the two, most of the time you can't use self-direction, which is the New York thing, I believe, which I have. But you can't use that for your clients or your kids. And then we were talking about discrimination. I'm like, I felt like I was discriminated at this place. And like, no, you weren't. And I said my definition. And they said, she said her definition. And her definition was my definition, but she tried to sound smarter. Which means we had the same definition. So the man, back to him, I somehow think, now I know this for a fact. So I asked a question. I was confused one day. So I said, I think, and he said, it doesn't matter what you think. So if you translate what I was saying, I'm asking a question, and him saying, you're going to try to challenge me to do my job, I'm not going to answer it. His daughter, like, what if his daughter saying, I'm more mature than this person, my father, and I can have a two-way conversation. And when he talks, it's one in one ear out the other. And she can actually do this, like teach. The other thing is, before we get on to the next thing the woman did, which is accommodation kind of, I always imagine them going on vacation and immediately the daughter's one picked and immediately terminating them. Because they always said, we don't advertise because we want the same clientele. Not that the clientele they had. Which means they don't want to grow because they'll find someone like me who's going to challenge them to do their job and put their company in jeopardy. To be honest, I don't know if the company is still out there. I assume it is just because I passed it a couple of times. Yeah, and the thing is still there. I haven't done that in like maybe 2-3 years, but like still, it's the sign's out, so I guess it's still in business. I heard that the man and lady don't work together anymore, which is probably better not to have the 2-on-1 attack. But you're not. If you're saying that, that means there's something. I think there was something shady going on, just being someone in there. And if the daughter were to advertise and get clients, and when they come back from this imaginary vacation, the clients are challenging them and they're not doing their job, like, what are you gonna do? They feel more comfortable in this imaginary situation. So I'm not saying slavery here, but I can see it in their minds being slavery. Class would end and they would tell us to clean. No instruction how to clean, which what I'm about to get into. Like, you really should not, unless you're going to teach us how to clean, instead of doing your taxes or whatever you're doing on the computers. I don't know, that's a self-care thing, especially in this situation where someone was using more water and the man said, fuck you, you're using too much water. He says, the guy, this is my first time doing it. And the man says that you should have known. And I'm like, how would he know if it was his first time doing it? And if you go back to the work environment, I mean, the lady we're getting the argument about, there might have been masturbation on the food. There might have been this guy sleeping in the trash area. It's rumored that he was effing the boss. And then they might have went to male or female strip clubs. Or on the pay dime, which is not maintenance. But we had that argument, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, well, are you saying that prostitution and maintenance are reversed, which means you're doing prostitution, which you're not, because you're actually cleaning, but, you know, I just wanted to bring that up, because it's part of this argument, and we're almost at 20 minutes, and I don't feel like I'm anywhere near done, so we're going to look for content. The man, this will be his last on this topic. He has another topic coming up. So, and I hate that I even thought of this in my head. Okay, so, is he saying he has a huge ego and a small you-know-what? Is he saying he's having a bad home life? Is he saying that, and I hate this so much, he needs to take out his failures in life on the disability? Because I've always thought he was trying to tell us to call child services on his 7-year-old daughter because he might be raping her. I don't want to think that, but just the way he was talking, there had to be something going on between him and his daughter, and I don't like to... Okay, give me a second. I don't like to say that, but, like, it was something that I thought of, and it would be horrible for that little girl. And it's implied, yes, compared to what the lady's going to do later, and I actually think the next scene, but there's no reason we should even be thinking about this. I actually, if you're going to ask me what he's saying by we're fucking morons, but his daughter is involving in this, I think he's saying he's a fucking moron for using his daughter in the situation, and there's something going on there. You know, I don't want to, I'm actually breaking up a little bit inside. So I'm going to move on. My manager was getting screamed at. For what? I don't know. I can't tell you the language because you might figure out the place, and I'm trying not to say the place that he was talking in. lady was like, oh no, he wasn't having a face like, oh, you know, he's in trouble because people with disabilities can't, autism can't decipher that. But yeah, I knew. But then he said, fuck you to the guy on the other line. I was making a dish. Because again, I think you can feel out where I'm coming from, the restaurant. And I don't want them to, if you want me to do another video on them, I'm happy to, but I feel like a lot is going to be repeated here with very little things put in. I get shoulder tackled. He said, if you're not willing to work, we don't need you. Slaps me in the face and then side slaps me. I don't know what that would be. I was 17 years old. And the lady says at 17, assault, rape, murder is allowed. And then she said, for every age for disability. And I'm almost thinking that she's done this before. Like, is she's teaching children, and when they challenge her, did they assault her? Did she assault them? When they have sleepovers, do they R-word? I don't want to keep on saying it. Not for YouTube or anything. It's just, I'm a little broken up. These last couple sections have, yeah, they're just bad. And when they go on vacation, is that where they end things? I did go on one vacation. I think we all came back. I mean, they did lose somebody temporarily, but that's more on their not being responsible. They should have did a count before they left. I'm not going to get into that. That's bad. But I will get into their phone call. They don't answer their phone a lot, or they didn't. And yeah, they called us retards. And I would always say, I don't know if I had this stance at the time, but I think it's like the N-word to us, autistic people. My opinion, you don't have to have the same opinion. This is getting a little tough. I'm giving you everything, and yeah. So I knew I was leaving at this point. We tried to get our money back for the trip. And I'm just going to go off assume since they knew that the phone was ringing. We did it at least 10 to 30 times. I think that's another law that you really can't do. And they're like staring at the phone. And I want to talk about the man here. Like, I'm joking with they were staring at the phone. They don't know what it's doing. And the man trying to pull it off and he's too weak. But that was another argument we got into. The disabled being weaker or not pushing themselves at the gym. And he kept on saying he goes. Well, I said I keep on working out and lifting weights. Like, again, I don't want to bring the daughter in, but like, in a pretend world, like, I can see, like, he's running over the daughter with his car and fleeing. He's forgot his phone or doing that. His daughter's getting out of the way. He's hitting a car. This guy has an accounting degree. I don't think that's going to give anything away, but I need to say that. I think the other one with the lady with the accounting degree has some kind of psychology degree, which is really bad because I feel like she knows what she's doing to us, or was doing to us, because I'm not there anymore, thank God. The accountant doesn't know how to pay. And I'm going to, hold on. So it goes to going 7 days a week. I'm still on my stance. And then he's like, but I go 7 days a week and you don't. And I was like, yeah, but he cut me off right away. I'm going to really quickly go over what I see some of the constitutions being here. The disabled do not have the right of free speech, especially when they're challenging them to do their job. They could shoot you. They always said Trump was a moron, and I'm not going to get political here, but if Trump was running against them, they would not win unless everything was reversed. I think that Trump is a smarter man than him, better businessman than him, and his business is more successful than theirs, but I'm not getting further into that. So, like, if you voted for Trump, they would do something. And a little bit of slavery, but, like, not really. In their minds, I can see it. That's what I'm saying. But where was I that I brought that up? This is long, and I'm, like, physically exhausting myself right now. We were talking about the gym, right? I don't think I made my end point. So they go 7 days, but I don't. And the thing is, before the lady gets involved, is he can't work out or lift weights because he would have said that against me. Yeah, so he just goes, "What do you do?" And please don't say your R word and your daughter that you got banned. Yeah. And I never really thought of it like that, but now that I'm giving my opinions, it's like really bad. Like what could have been happening there. Then she brought in, "Oh, you don't do your max weight." We argue. I say that is my max weight, so you should never do your max weight. So she's conflicting. Man was like, "Oh, your boss isn't qualified." When I gave him his degree, I don't know if they're qualified or somebody paid off. They said he should commit suicide for being qualified to do his job, which is, I got really confused, but like, we're not even going to touch on that. He was just my fitness trainer at the time. He's not my boss. And I agree, if a friend, trainer, or boss, he is definitely more qualified than these people to do their job. The last thing comes where the lady and me are arm wrestling, even though man was the one who was making the entire argument. Now man starts shaking the table. I'm still in it. I don't want to say I did lose, but I don't think I lost barely. He kicks the chair that I'm sitting in, and my ass jumps out for a split second. And now looking back at this, like, okay, that's probably a disqualification, double disqualification, outside interference, and my ass was out of the table, which is out of the chair, which it wasn't. And then he started to punch me, which he never connected, and I actually went into the way that she was trying to get me down, and that's where I lost. And yeah, in a 2-on-1 handicap match, yeah, I lost. 1-on-1, I probably would have won. If I did 1-on-1 with the man, I probably would have won. If he had all the power in the world, I probably would have won. The strength. So man is kind of done up until a later point. Oh, did I mention with the phone call? Actually, no, we're going back to the phone call. So they stole my money. We were going on a trip. It wasn't Drew Self-Direction. And man has no idea what's going on, or pretended at least. And woman said, "Yeah, you can get all your money back." Next day, we call, they answer actually on the first try, and they said we just spent the money. We're going to get into that in a little bit later. Yeah, a little bit later, but I don't think there's morals there, is what I'm saying. Okay, so next thing, I was telling them that the customer said I did a good job, and they said in every profession, the customer is always wrong. So that means you're probably saying you're not qualified or able to do your job. You're not a nice person. You're not smart. You can't teach. You shouldn't own a company. All of those things probably are the things that you shouldn't do. Yeah. So, I'm not going to get into more into that. That's kind of self-explanatory how stupid that was. So, prostitute leaves, and normally he went through this routine. He got naked. Well, he changed his clothes at least. I never actually saw it. I just heard rumors from the customers. Talked to the manager, stole food, and left me to do everything that he didn't do, which we're going to get to at the end of this segment. There were 3 times where the manager didn't have anybody on after, didn't ask me to stay. He said, "Do this." Which is, we're going to spread out 3 weeks, and then the final week, that was later on in the week, like 3 days later, I thought of ending things. But then I got the phone call from the other place that hired me seasonally. I'm sorry. I didn't really, I thought I was going to be able to get through this, but without so many pauses, but it's weighing on me. Anyway, manager comes back 8 hours later. Apparently they're signed in. The prostitute left 30 minutes early and still got his pay. Like, these were all things we were talking about. There was one more. What was the other thing? Oh, the shift manager was like, "You gotta stop doing this to the prostitute. He fuck you. You know, he did that to me too." I didn't say, "You gotta stop doing this." He said, and the tone of voice, I'm gonna go back to that. you gotta not stack it so high that thing. Well, there's no napkins in, so I had to put the napkins in, and his tone of voice was like, "Fuck you! If I did this, you wouldn't have to." I also thought of some other things I want to talk about. In layman's terms, that's where I feel the slavery was, because I think they actually said, "You don't have any rights there. You should have stayed and been like a slave." I think they actually kind of mumbled. She actually mumbled the word slave or something. So one time, every last tray and every table was dirty, and it took me 40 minutes to get it clean. Manager says, "How long?" And then he cut me off because when he's a jackass, that's just how it is. And they were like, in 40 minutes, yeah, but it's also, I don't know if this is going to give it away, but it's family night. So we also have a line coming in, more people. That's the reason I couldn't get it done. And then I couldn't get it done when there were more people anyway. Because it just came to be so many people. I think it was like a holiday weekend. I think it was Labor Day. Or it was during the summer, because I was employed for this people for 6 months, and 3 of those were summer months. I'm including June into that. And then they were like, "You got to calm down." I was having a meltdown, clearly because they were refusing or weren't capable of doing their job, or they couldn't help me calm down because they would have to take responsibility that they didn't do their job. So those are the main points. But I have a couple of things I want to sprinkle in before I hit the ending of this. Some things they said. We already discussed him saying, try to listen to everything you say and try to figure it out. The tone of voice and the way it's being said. You cannot make fun of other companies. Yeah. Other companies can't make fun of them because they don't do their job. But they can make fun of other companies because they do their job. And at the 50-50 split, as I was doing, because I was at 50-50, I wasn't actually planning to leave this place. I'll tell you the exact incident in a second. They kept on saying, without saying it, if you're going to do 50-50, you got to choose one and you got to choose us. Yeah. So they would be like, "Oh, you're a moron, you're stupid, it's all because you have a disability, that's why you're wrong." But one class I took, I was about, oh man, I'm going back to get chewed out at the new place, and we actually had a very two-way conversation, and they taught me. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's the way things should be. And yes, they should, but like, let's not go into that too much. Political review, we already discussed the Trump. Religious review, they were trying to say things like there is no God. I firmly believe there's a God, and I'm not going to get religious on there. I just wanted to bring it up because you can't be pummeling those two things down. We have to learn, but they don't have to learn. They said something about ego, and I'm like, you're like an egotistical moron that doesn't do their job. You cry when you don't get your way, disabled. I feel like there's a mirror force going back at them. So the new place I already mentioned was a music studio, and I was learning music, and I was learning to dance, which is actually where I had that conversation previously. That got me into a clear-headed thinking. So they were totally doing that, and they said, we listened to everything you say, and I had a bad rotator cuff. And now, before we actually started, I gotta say something else. Because two of the people were like talking about me, to the innocent disabled people, and like they didn't spend the money yet. They did it to get back at me for challenging them to do their job and perhaps leaving. All right. They have no morals. We probably should have lost all the money. We did lose some money. I think we got some back. I'm not going to get into it. I don't know that information off the top of my head. So they tell us how to like listen for music, and I was like, nah, from what I know, that's not the right beat. So I'm listening to the beat. I don't know why we were smacking things on a pencil on a table either. I don't really remember what that was all about. All I know is that They singled me out the entire night. So the man went and grabbed my rotator cuff, like to try to put me in position to do the right thing, which I think was the wrong thing, because I'm trying to listen. There's probably crap coming out of his ear. Yeah. And then the woman, I was dancing with somebody she taught how to dance probably that prior week. They're like 5. They came in on Monday, and we did this on Thursday. So like one of the 5, and I was letting her lead, and 5 times I got assaulted pretty much. And I'm thinking, I'm letting her lead. Not against the girl that's I'm with dancing. I'm letting her lead, so the lady is kind of being stupid. Like she's like saying, well, I'm trying to embarrass him, but doesn't realize that she's leading, that I have a, it's like, oh, you probably should go to his dance class because he knows what he's doing. It's almost like, because I was letting her lead, I was being, I hate to say it because the other girl isn't there, who I don't think is able to talk, is playing into this manipulation game, and she's just a pawn. And then it happened again, and then again, and eventually I was like, ugh. I am embarrassed that they have a job and own a company, because, like, on a normal basis, if someone heard about this, they really shouldn't be empowered to own a company or teach, especially to people with autism. And then the PTSD, this is the thing that I really regret not doing. I regret not making this video like as it was happening, first off. But I regret, could I have hit her as retaliation and called that assault? Probably not, because they would be like, oh no, that's not assault. Which I would probably have the right definition. They would just try to clean up their own, their own act. But regardless of that, how that goes. I'm sorry, I brain farted for a second. Regardless of that, I think I should have faked an injury. Because then the cops get involved, and then I had to tell this story to them. And I just feel like a lot of people are still being manipulated by them with Stockholm Syndrome. They think they're great. And I feel like I could have, 7 years ago, helped. And I regret that. Yeah, I'm hungry. Don't worry about my stomach. It's not... This video is almost 40 minutes. I regret that if these people were really that bad, that they might still be doing this. They're still doing it to me because I suffer from PTSD and my ADD. What is that called? Oh, it has a word. The stimming. When I stim, I want to think of the WWE. I want to fantasy book the Royal Rumble, and I'm able to do it. I want to be able to make these Pokemon videos for you, right? Which I really need to get back to. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon, really quick. I got a new computer. I need some time to get used to the computer. It's only been like a month. That's not the point. But like, I wanted to be thinking of those things and not this, not the job, not being bullied in high school. And if you guys want, maybe I can make 2 or 3 more videos regarding this. But it's been 40 minutes, and I think it's time to go. I have expressed myself to you, guys. I'm not saying all day Hab programs are bad. The one I'm in, which I will not reveal the name of, and I will not reveal the 2 workplaces. There was only one we were talking about, but there were 2 workplaces that I kind of felt a little discriminated against. And one I shouldn't have, but that one's the lesser of the 2 evils. yeah. And we could go into the bullying in high school. I mean, I don't know why that ever was allowed to happen. But I think this has been Peter Piccinini, because I can't be PD Nice in this, because this isn't an act. And that's my stage alias. But I will give you one PD Nice. If that's the right word, I would like you guys to stay safe. Try to evaluate every situation as it's happening. I want you to have a nice day, have a nice life, and I don't really care if this helps with WWE. I just wanted to get it off my chest, and maybe it will help me heal. Of course, our goal, I'm going to make this like into one of those what if videos, do a plug at the end. Yeah, we're still trying to get to WWE. We're trying to get that backstage meet and greet. I want to be the sacrificial lamb for everybody else. So let's do this together. I know I got a lot of support, and I thank you guys. But in the PD Nice mannerisms, I would like to say, have a nice day. And stay nice for disability rights.